Where are we at the moment in terms of their capability to export, and where do we see ourselves in a couple of years' time?
The one thing we haven't discussed is, of course, the global economy, and we can only play as well as the global economy allows us to, and it's still a struggle out there. I don't think we can get carried away with anything. The Far East, the BRICS, that's why we mentioned the BRICS, because they are the economies that appear to be growing at the moment. I would only put it, I'm afraid, just above half at 6. I'm afraid it's tough. It's very tough. We have good industry, we have good skills in this country, but we're still up in a difficult climate.
I can only say our particular business is steady, but we're dealing in very unusual markets like Nigeria, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and they don't seem to have been hit by the downturn in the world economy in the same way as obviously the Western world. I would say that there have to be great opportunities in going out to these difficult markets, African markets, and of course China and India, where they have got money and where they have not been affected in the same way by the downturn in the world economy.
Well, our products are categorized as premium or super premium, and we make no attempt to try and compete with local producers or indeed with the very big multinationals on an economy basis. And I think the UK has been through a lot of hard times in the past 30, 40 years. Manufacturing's had a lot of hits. So the companies that are in business today are leaner and they're producing very high quality products. And I think there is demand in the world for those products. So we're certainly getting a lot of demand for European products going into the rest of the world that have that brand quality, if you like. So I would give it a 6 out of 10.
I suppose at one level, I go back to when I lived in New York some years ago, and I remember the kind of sales pitches you would get from a retail store. And in America, if they wanted to sell you something hard, they'd tell you it was European. And if they really wanted to push it, they would say it was British. So there is still something out there about the quality that we have and the knowledge economy that we've built up over the last 20 years. Certainly from the clients that we talk to, and I suspect you've got some information from your surveys as well, actually, those that are exporting are doing well and are looking to expand. I think that the challenge we've got is how do we get them into more markets? Because it's very difficult to grow 10, 20% in a market you're already in. So how do you get into more markets and get faster growth? And for companies that haven't exported before, there's a kind of a longer journey to get them actually onto the road. So there's 2 parallel tracks we've got to pursue here.
I think we need to bear in mind, this is all relative as well. Growth in the UK is more sluggish than we would perhaps like to see, and exporting offers a great opportunity to diversify the risk in terms of suppliers and buyers, and also the opportunity. When we contrast the Purchasing Managers Index in the UK, looking at manufacturing, it's over 51%, it's about 54% at the moment. If you look at the equivalent in the Eurozone, it's barely above 50. So on a relative term, actually we're faring pretty well with our immediate peers.
It's interesting that the view on the bench here is that it's sort of 5, 6 out of 10, and the surveys that we've done show that of those companies that export, roughly 50% expect their businesses to continue to grow. So it's in the same sort of ballpark. But it's also interesting. There's a sense that companies are reluctant to invest broadly across the UK economy. So it's interesting that you've got exporters are saying, I expect my business to grow, and yet if they're part of that broader economy, they're reluctant to invest. So I think it's a confidence thing. To grow your business, you have to invest, and whether you borrow money to make that investment or you invest your own funds, getting that balance right and that confidence to the point where people say, I will make that investment, whether it's in an export market or a new product or whatever it is. We've kind of got to make that mental switch, and I think that's the next thing that will get it from a 5 or a 6 to maybe a 7 or an 8, it seems to me.
I'll add to that. the countries that Standard Charter are involved in, Africa, Middle East, Asia, the demand is there. Those regions want European products. If you look at what is happening in many of those regions, they're developing a middle class society. And as that society develops, they want brands, they want labels, they want luxury. And right now, Europe, Britain, is seen as the brand, the luxury. And they want that label. So the demand is there. If we can just encourage UK exporters to export, people will buy. And yes, of course, all of us collectively have to help manage that risk. But somebody wants to buy your product.
It's interesting. I saw something recently that Broughton, who make the collapsible bicycles, that he was the guy who owns it, was on television. He reckons that he could sell as many collapsible bicycles into China as he could sell into all of his other 30 or 40 markets that he sells into. He was asked the question, well, presumably you'll start making them at China at some point. He said no, because people want to buy a bike that's made in London. So it's the brand thing, and we kind of think, well, when we make something, first thing we've got to do is bang it out in quantity cheaply, and actually you don't have to do that, because this emerging middle class will buy the brand. And
I had lunch on Sunday with a friend who's just moved out to Shanghai and was back for a short trip. He's been out there about 2 or 3 months, and he was talking to his secretary because his secretary was going to take his wife around and show her, kind of where to go in Shanghai. And she was saying about buying a Hermes bag. And he said, well, why would you buy the real bag when you could buy a fake one, at any of the shops down the road in Shanghai? And she said, I'll know it's fake. So the brand awareness is becoming really powerful.
So the headlines that say the UK doesn't make anything and we don't export are unfounded, and there really is quality there that we can capitalise on.
There's quality and skills. I mean, we've been talking about brand names, but there's a lot of other products as well that have succeeded because they have clever entrepreneurs running them and skilled employee workforce. Not necessarily manufacturing, but marketing and distributing those products.
I think the biggest challenge as banks that we have in the future is helping our customers to have the confidence and the courage, as I think came out during the roundtable, to get on the aeroplane and go and have a go in the markets. We have the talent, we have the products. It's having the confidence to go out and take those products to the world.